Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to the Horror at Highrook, where today we have an awful lot of cleanup to do around the estate. We've caused some problems for sure. So we have these big piles of debris. The recent quake has caused a section of the archive stacks, in this case, to collapse. Splintered wood and shattered containers lie strewn across the floor. The good news is, it looks like these don't require a huge amount of skill within their room to deal with. A lot of them aren't even going to require any booster items, although this one does. What else do we have? We have some basic stuff that we dug up that we should make sure we interact with here. Found ourselves a chemical worksheet and a booster matrix. And also... Oh, a seal of Nibiru. Let's get that out with our other seals. And also a pestilent swarm. A swarm of tiny insects has appeared, whining like distorted mosquitoes. Each noxious fly bubbles with infection, sprinkling their contagion on everything they touch. They do no direct harm and are not hard to dispatch, but they spread disease and will multiply quickly if left unchecked. Okay, well, feels like we probably ought not to leave them unchecked then. Aster can do paths, and Aster is... Yeah, we don't need Aster in, like, the machine room or anything, or the lab. So this seems like a fine task for you to knock out. The archives are easy enough to clean up. Where's Vitali? Get Vitali on this. You can just take care of the courtyard, probably, or actually... How hard is this? Okay, yeah, you can take care of the debris in the cellars. The quake collapsed several walls, making the crooked tunnels even more hazardous. Caligar can get out here and handle this. It's caused part of the portico to collapse, resulting in a pile of masonry and crushed shrubbery. It seems as if there could be something worth investigating beneath the rubble. Okay, so everybody get in there like Barney, and you just deal with the flies. Very quickly, in fact. And then you don't have the study skill. Oh, well, there's debris in the well house that we can dig out. It's going to require the use of the scrubbing salts, but that's fine. Alright, let's make some repairs here. Or at least get some garbage out of the way. So we discovered an iron pail. A noisy metal bucket that seems to clang and clatter with the slightest provocation. It is stained and dented from years of hauling coal and water. As well as a sturdy crate. 6-point crate, jeez. Over here we unearthed a box. A small metal case recovered from beneath the debris in the courtyard. It must have laid buried there for years. Despite its age, it remains firmly locked. And with no sign of a key, we'll need to break our way in. We can absolutely do that. Here we have a clay bone clump. A dollop of earth and clay revealed when cleaning debris from the courtyard. Normally, we would instantly discard this clod of earth, but Dr. Caligar suspects that the loam hides something more organic. Perhaps even bone-like. I suppose we can get on that right away. Yeah, that's no problem. We discovered a document case. A Venatus document box designed to transport confidential papers. Pretty standard stuff, actually. Seen a lot of these. I suppose that can be a task for Aster in a moment here. Right, Vitali doesn't have lab skills, no. We do need to clear the study, and I guess, yeah, you can just go ahead and get on that. And then the forge as well. And the forge only requires 1 point. So, Atticus could just go pick that up. Also discovered some more of Sophia's notes to be used by Aster in the study. Okay. Yeah, good. Productive. Oh, you gotta actually press the button here. We've discovered here Alfred's note, number 5. I was looking for musical recordings for the boy to play. He loves the magic of sound coming from that clunky old machine he has in his room. I promised him I would bring him anything I could find, and I have got him some good ones. Music, stories, and the like. I found one in the archives the other day that I will not let him hear. It was right far in the stacks. Voltok, or something it says on the label. Excited, I took it to Simon's room, but he wasn't there. I thought to give it a listen myself. Well, I wish I had not. Such evil words were on the thing. I would call it a choir of witches. I took the wretched thing and put it up in the eaves in our chambers, so that no one ever again has to listen to that foul noise. Okay, interesting. Wax recording to be listened to in the child's room. Mr. Mouse, Part 5. Mr. Mouse had laid a trap for the visitors. They entered the darkened room and saw the helpless Dream struggling on the floor. They rushed to it, like mice to old cheese. The visitors kneeled down around the Dream, with their syringes and their books, but Mr. Mouse gnawed faster. The rope snapped, the cage fell, the visitors screamed. Mr. Mouse hoped all the noise would not wake up the king, but up in his grand bedroom, the king slumbered on, dreaming his dreams, until they climbed out of his skull to crawl off and hide in the nooks and crannies of the house. Mr. Mouse had done a good job. He went back to the window to watch the river and to whisper and to wait. The story's getting right creepy. So Aster is having some minor madnesses and also is getting pretty hungry and also starting to get a bit tired. Yeah, it's definitely drawing up on mealtime. I'm going to have Aster go and try to find us some food, I think, while the other three continue their work. Okay, lots done. Voltok's note. I am no longer using the phonograph to journal my reflections of the moonfly experiments. Instead, I am recording the journeys directly. I am attempting to describe the visions as they occur. The phonograph has been most useful in this research, but some recordings have turned out more disturbing than I expected. One session in particular saw my narration transform into a stream of pained whispers in a language I do not know. Listening back to the recording has left me so disturbed I had to retire with a measure of laudanum. I doubt that there is anything of sense in this recording, but the cylinder is attached if by chance I wish to re-examine my unsettling glossolalia. Well, this confirms that the Acherons were not the first owners of Highrook to open their minds to Nibiru. Ms. Voltok was seeking artistic inspiration instead of power, but she stumbled upon her own method of illumination. This moonfly extract, or at least the recordings that resulted from it, could help us assemble the final rite. Again, it is the appliance of mechanist engineering that allows us to examine her steps. Aster wears a smug grin. Scientific recording and containment is the only safe way to deal with arcane phenomenon. Your blind enthusiasm for occult systems is misguided and dangerous. Yeah, they're definitely getting more aggressive with each other as each stage goes on. My enthusiasm is how we have progressed this far. Vitali curbs a rising anger. If we had not engaged with the tools and rites of Nibiru, we would still be scouring the courtyard for notes and footprints. Okay, everybody just be cool. So another wax recording. And Gwyndel's Villanelles, a collection of poems written by the controversial author Peter Gwindel. To many critics, the rambling stanzas and violent imagery appears to be nothing more than provocative posturing. But to others, the intensity of the writing and its otherworldly tone were a source of great inspiration. Studying this can reward us with inspiration for some rooms that it's kind of hard to get inspiration for. Interesting. Alright, over here, we've discovered a preserved limb, recovered from the burial jacket of clay and dirt. It is in surprisingly good condition. Things might be learned from its nicks and scratches. A fragment of something more. The dark traceries and dislocated symbols offer only a glimpse of what the whole might be. This is the order of a human body, right? It's basically done. Where else were we working? Aha. Storage index. A crumpled note listing the shelf locations of various texts. This sheet could help us retrieve some of Irma Voltok's more disturbing yet insightful stanzas, and it only has a difficulty of 5. I am unwell. My experiments have left me scarred, and it does not heal. I have not used the extract for days. Yet when I close my eyes, that blasphemous landscape appears once more. Even in my waking hours, the shadows around Highrook transform into the spires of that forsaken land, and I feel the cold heat of that sickening moon on my back. My adventures took a step too far, and I came here to destroy the drafts I have written, to burn them in the forge. Yet I could not. Something, pride perhaps, would not let me do this. I will take them to the archives where they might be safely hidden. Perhaps their terrible inspiration will one day be worth this nightmarish tariff. Perhaps. Vitali, I believe that is falling to you, sir. And then Hawk's in pretty good shape aside from just being tired. We can certainly put him on... what can I put him on? We're trying to get some food. Oh, you know what? You could be mixing up the next healing thing. And we have a document case to open too, but let's get the healing thing fixed first. And then you could maybe be opening that crate. How hard is that crate to open? It's a 6. We can do a 6. We also have the unearthed box. Sorry to bump you there, Stokes. Yeah, let's get some of this stuff open. And we now know how we would approach this 7-point blueprint here and stuff, but we'll get to it when we get to it. Is there anything else critical to be doing right now? Well, I guess everybody's busy at the moment. All right, some tracing charcoal, some raw meat that I believe you can cook. Oh, we got another pestilent swarm. And here, a seeker's record. Dear brothers, I have finally obtained the ceremonial goblet of Irma Voltok. As you know, we have been in search of this item ever since our interest in Highrook began. Irma was a previous owner of the estate. She was a much-lauded poet, praised for her vivid and otherworldly compositions. Although it is unclear how much true insight Voltok displayed in her work, it is evident that she used the relic, along with various chemical concoctions, to summon visions of Nibiru. As such, it was seen as important to obtain the goblet as soon as possible and add it to our inventory. Communion Provisioner H. So this is the goblet that Irma used to drink her vision extract. A little theatrical, but perhaps there is something to be said for setting the scene. Caligar's hands fidget nervously. As a student of both the body and the mind, I am interested in the effects of Voltok's experiments. Perhaps we could recreate them. Okay, I'm all up for a good drinking session, but this seems unsafe. Atticus shuffles nervously. I wouldn't want you to endanger yourself, Miss Caligar. We need your expertise and sensitivity. Okay, well, see, his demeanor toward her hasn't sharpened any. That is kind of you, Atticus, but I am, unfortunately, a veteran of such experiments. I feel certain that I will be fine. I am less so. And, yeah, pestilent swarm in the schoolroom. Well, somebody's got to go shut that shit down. It doesn't really matter who it is, and it happens fast enough. So, I guess it should be somebody who's in good physical shape. Yeah, just go use the gift of the toad to knock that out, I suppose. And while you're here, you can process this emberstone. So that requires 8. A cracked wooden goblet. The ancient wood is stained with whatever foul liquids it has contained over the years. It belonged to Irma Voltok and was used as the receptacle of her sacred wine and focus of her astral voyages. We could try and recreate those journeys, but must be aware that not all paths from here are safe ones. Yeah, that's new information to us, certainly. We also got Voltok's draft here, a creased collection of scribbled pages, ink-stained scraps laced in fragments of unknown language and arcane symbology. That'll be easy enough to run through. So next thing is probably hit this document case, right? Well, we're gonna need people to eat. I did just put you on processing the Emberstone, though. So yeah, go ahead and do that. You don't have study skill, right? You don't. Okay, that's fine. I might just do a normal... like Irving's eyepiece here, because we need to well, whatever. Let's work the storage index. I'm just thinking, we need to replenish some of our lost helper items, but we'll get to it. Okay, so Vitali's got that done. Let's maybe take a look at Voltok's draft while everybody else is working, since that first task was basically instant. Alright, Ember Shards for you. Another wax recording. My voyages are becoming more intense and the recordings more garbled. I now believe I am always drawn to the same place, an unnatural shadowed isle lit by the flickering rays of a burning moon. The recordings are often confused and hard to transcribe, such as the one I include here, and often, and sometimes even seem to have been captured in voices other than my own. Or seem to have captured other voices than my own. I have written several drafts for new poems immediately after these visions, but the results are always unreadable, the pages crisscrossed with garbled phrases and arcane symbols. I am hoping that my attempts will gain clarity over time. Perhaps it is simply a matter of adjusting the dose. So that's from fairly early in her journeys. And of course, another recording. Let's just bump some stuff here. You did your work. Alright, another one of Voltok's drafts. And apparently these are our new puzzle pieces. Okay, no huge surprise there. Let's get it done. Alright. Mechanist Aster was starving, just very, very briefly. So, what else now? Well, like I said, we do need to just recover a bunch of basic support items. It might be a good idea to spend some time doing that. People are starting to get kind of tired. People are starting to get pretty tired. You know what? Maybe let's eat and then let's have ourselves a little rest. I think this is an okay time for it. Okay, get some new notes and stuff to look at. Okay. So, earned ourselves a gift of the monkey. That's good news. The Senville Gazette, number 6. Intense smog causes choking epidemic. A mixture of wood smoke, coal fumes, and naturally occurring sea mist has combined to inflict a terrible plight upon Black Sands, with widespread bad breathing and choking reported. The mayor has asked people to stay in their homes and to only venture out with breathing apparatus or fine-weave masks to stave off the worst of the hazard. The conditions are expected to lift when the weather brings fresh sea air into the region. If you are choking, you are advised to drink strongly salted hot water and convalesce in bed. Interesting. Well, here's hoping we don't accidentally kill everyone in that village. Atticus has left a new note. The doctor's done so much for us here. The others don't see it, but I do. We might even be dead without her. I know my own work to keep them all fed and protected from the elements helps too, but there are skills which are beyond me, skills that we all need in this hellhole. And I wonder if I will still write notes like this once I get out of this place. This experience will leave me a changed man, for certain. I was never much of a thinker, but it's hard not to brood in this place, and hard not to think about how life might have been different. I will lead a better life one day, and stop having to sell my muscle for jobs like this. But who will live that life with me? Aw, poor Atticus. Big man's lonely. Aster's note. What is Atticus doing, creeping about in the corners of dark corridors late at night? I cross paths with him, but he does not speak, just grunts and moves on. And what of Caligar? She seems never to remove that mask, and it begins to stir thoughts in me that I have suppressed. What does she really want here? Why does she seem so interested in where things might be hidden or buried? And the longer we spend here, the more I realize that everyone, and not just Vitali, has some special and unhealthy interest in this place, beyond the mission we've been charged with. It worries me. If we're all looking to other ambitions, what will become of the Acherons themselves, the focus of this whole investigation? So Aster's madness is getting a little high. I wonder if... Because Hawk's quite under control. Well, but Caligar's not succumbing to paranoia, and her madness is really high. I was sort of wondering if it was a dynamic effect of the level of madness that they were at, if there was a different, maybe 4 or 5 different potential diary entries for each day. But again, Caligar, I don't know. Caligar's condition would seem to disprove this. It is only my training and experiences as a doctor that have allowed me to survive in this place. The others endure also in their own ways. Education and experience are the tuning which makes a person survive. This is even true of Atticus. He might be a simple beast with limited pleasures, but I have seen him right, and I know he thinks more than his exterior might suggest. Kind of a sick burn on Atticus. I doubt I will see him again after all this is done, but if I do, I will not be uncomfortable with such a meeting. Also, the Verdun record. Dear Mr. Vitali, unfortunately we have been unable to locate any further Somnus Umbra seeds for you. However, while I was organizing our records, I came across a receipt for an old order of the kernels from a previous Highrook owner, a Miss Voltok. The note attached indicates that since Miss Voltok did not rise before noon, the delivery was to be placed in the estate archives by her staff. Perhaps you can find it. The parcel will be stamped with our logo. Okay. Might be able to find ourselves some more seeds. That seems like a thing that Vitali might go after right away. Aster could use a little bit of sanity restoration. I think we might want to do that real quick. We can't throw Caligar in there, not until the other thing is resolved. But what I should probably do with Caligar is actually heal myself. Yeah, and then we don't really need to include anybody else in this. So, Atticus, what is your deal right now? We need to generate more helper stuff, I guess. Yeah, we just need to pick up a bunch of stuff that we've lost. So let's start running some basic usages of some spots. Okay, we have here a pestilent swarm that somebody ought to get on, and Aster should be capable. She's feeling an awful lot better. You can go and try to recover some of the stuff that comes from the courtyard, certainly. Okay, there we go. Good news. Exotic spices, scrubbing salts, definitely things that are important. And we have discovered an old parcel. A faded package recovered from the estate's archives. Its oiled paper has started to crack and split, and something rattles faintly within. The faded brand of Verdun Row is still visible on the mottled wrapping. Well, let's get it open then. What is the next most important stuff? I mean, we need to... You have archives, right? We need to pull more stuff from the archives. So let's do a... an archives key move in here real quick. I'll move you out to scan the cliff tops for things. Yeah. Alright, let's brew up another healing potion just in case. There we go. Lots and lots of useful stuff appearing. Catalytic powder. Emberstone for later. I think we might even want to just do another run there. Maybe here too, honestly. Or sorry, the chemical worksheet is for up here. What am I doing? Vitaly has uncovered a dry seed, of course. As we would expect. I think I'm going to hold off on using it. Well, no, never mind. Let's just go ahead and hit it now. We also discovered a letter in the package. Oh, and there are 2 seeds. Interesting. I had to be more careful since the rooms are getting so full. Dear Ms. Voltok, thank you for your order. Included in the parcel are 2 Somnus Umbra seeds. They are fully desiccated and should last for years, if not decades, in their dry form. If you are to use them for therapeutic aid, we advise rehydrating the kernels in a cup of hot water and drinking the solution. Consuming the seeds independently would likely cause a more intense and potentially dangerous effect. Yeah, let's please be careful with these. Soft sound like rainfall emanates from the husk. Okay, and they are given identical descriptions, just slightly different names. I guess just do that. We'll see what happens. Alright. Healing dose. I'm gonna have her go and dig up another sprig just so that we can have that. We can be ready to make another dose should we suddenly need to. Okay. That'll be helpful. We probably don't need the raw meat just now, but I think that's indicative of the fact that we are running out of important things to get there. Let's give this one more try. The dream of a tower isolated on a cold coastline. Someone watches from within its tiny black windows. Perhaps this is the place I am looking for, but I am torn from the vision with a start. As I rise, the dream begins to fade. Interesting. In my dream, I stood within a small boat approaching an isle. Tall and impenetrable conifers, as black as night, looming against cliffs of pale stone. The cliffs were like broken bones jutting out of the motionless lake. A dark tower marks the horizon. I saw someone within its crooked arches. Ella? All was silent. Even the oars made no sound. I believe this place to be the Isle of the Dead, the very gateway to the realm I seek. Perhaps next time I might find a way to knock, to pass through, to see her once more. And I think it makes sense that he immediately uses the other one, right? Like he is so buoyed by that and so driven, like by being so close to it. I think you can probably chill out on this. So I guess let's start working things out in the study. May as well get this done while everybody's busy. Handful of mechanist notes written by the Lady Sophia. Some sort of design sketched out in here. We'll need some study to extract it reliably. Alright, let's see about that. Alright, another sprig to hold on to for later. Nothing to find there. And we have, in fact, found another one of Sophia's blueprints. Also, difficulty 7. And we at least know how to approach these now. We've got a pestilent swarm in the schoolroom, which I will put her on immediately. Oh, we don't have the inspiration. Shoot. The Archer's Primer works as one. I hate burning this, but it's probably not going to be like important to overall. And getting rid of the swarm probably is actually pretty critical. We certainly don't want to give it any time to spread disease or whatever. All right. There she was, in a glade. Between us ran a stream, with water moths chasing light over the slow water. I could not cross, nor could she, but we could speak. Oh, Ella, finally. And one day, forever. Even though this dream might fade, its imprint will remain, and I will return. I know now that the land of the dead can be reached, and so my lost fiancée, my dear Ella, can also be found. For her to be sent there was the most painful event of my life. But in this place and in these dreams, I finally spoke to my love again. This discovery, this knowledge that I shall be able to reach her, even in life, I can barely stand to put it into words. The feelings defy recording. I will keep searching in sleep and find that glade again, for I must etch the path there into my mind. For someday I too will pass into that land beyond life, and we might join hands once more. On finishing the game, this story will be concluded. Okay, well, I'm glad that we've done that for Vitali. I think that's good, maybe. I think we definitely need to get on these ritual offerings and start generating our additional inspirations. And then what else needs doing quickly? We have these blueprints that need to get figured out. I guess one thing we need to do is thought condense. Right, so let's combine some stuff here. You could be doing what? I think you're kind of out of, I don't know, just dig to be doing something. And then let's go ahead and start using the storage index here. All right, Gift of the Owl, Gift of the Toad. Oh, we didn't end up needing the Archer's Primer anyway? Huh. I thought it took a point, well, whatever, I'm not going to complain. Yeah, job got done. Okay, yeah, so you're on that, You can, do we need more inspirations? Are we good? I think we're actually good for the moment. Yeah, of those, yeah, we have all the inspirations we can generate right now of those types. So Vitali has songs. We can start listening to the pillars. Augury number 3. Let's start with augury number 1. Okay, a boon of the monkey will be sufficient to let us open up these blueprints. Although I'll have to wait for Sophia to do it, obviously. Or for Aster, rather. Okay, replacement ritual offerings. Don't know that we need to do anything else here. Somebody's got to get through Voltok's draft of this other Voltok draft we've got here, which should get us another piece of the composition. And you are just kind of hanging out because you can't do any of this stuff. Yeah, you're just kind of hanging out. Okay, I've uncovered more drafts of Voltoks, and it seems like we could keep doing that. So I'm assuming they'll stop being useful eventually. Let's knock out this blueprint here. Alright, that has also revealed a little something. Maybe? How you doing there, Vitali? 40% madness. Let's keep an eye on that. Alright, listen to this one. Take some notes. We are indeed discovering critical things. Again, only 5 points. Easy enough. I wish Atticus had the ability to go through the archives. Alright, complete. And in a timely fashion, we've discovered this weird junk. Alright, so somebody's got to generate more boons and stuff here. So I guess let's do another archive key drop. And then we need somebody with this skill to generate some of those. Okay, it's not directly driving him mad. No more than any other kind of work in this place does. That's an 8. Well, I guess one thing we can do here is we can thought condense the herbs with the gift, because we're almost certainly going to have to, right? We're going to have to generate another point of support from somewhere else, even. Okay, so you got your booster matrix. Vitali, I need you to open up some ritual offerings. Okay, that was important. We got a pestilent swarm. Yeah, see, this one does... It says it requires 1 level of schoolroom skill, and nobody actually has that. I mean, yeah, go ahead and hit it. So we're all done with these now. Is there any place else that we need to jam together some thought condenser stuff? I'm not sure. This might be a good idea. Alright, Gift of the Toad replaced. Sadly, not the thing I actually most need. We're gonna have to... Well, we're gonna have to do a couple of things. It's not generating machine room inspiration. I'm not... Maybe it can't. Maybe that's not one of the options there. All right, so you go process the fungus. I suppose I could have you processing the stone, right? We can generate the other tier 1 ember bonuses. Because at some point we're going to need to upgrade our assistance items even further, right? Oh, there is the iron pail, right? This is a task that we still need somebody on, and unfortunately Aster's the only one who can do it. I just committed her to something. Okay, more support items. We're really, really, really ready to forge things. Alright, Aster can go and knock that out. Generate the right kinds of inspiration. Do go and dig me up more ritual stuff, though. That's important. Vitali. Get stuff from the cellar. Okay, Caligar's fine-ish. She'll be okay. Alright, aromatic herbs, which we'll put in the Mr. Tubbs spot as soon as Mr. Tubbs moves. Yep, these cannot create machine inspiration, actually. That's interesting. Well, you know what? We can get this unearthed box done. Curative algae. When thought, a film of viscous life drawn from the depths of the well. It is thought that when boiled into a tonic, the chemical contents can help to cure infections and disease. Interesting. And also we got some more flicker fry, but we haven't used our glowing flask yet, so why don't we make whatever that makes? I think that is unfamiliar to me. We may as well dig up the second copy of Ritual Offerings that we're allowed to have. Got ourselves an Ember Fungus. Why don't you go work the storage index again? Pestilent Swarm is upon us. You could just get right to work on that. We made a cleansing tonic. Rapidly cures most infections. Okay, good to know. Found some moonfly extract. A big support. Yeah, this'll get the thing done with the goblet. Don't love that. And a support card for the well house. Evelyn's Strain. Gerward Evelyn was a servant to the director of Westfold Frontiers, a prospecting group established by Lord Mithers. The company operated for several years in the goldfields of the West Coast. Its expert geologists and surveyors found little to no riches and ended up wasting their remaining funds on gin and opium. During this period, Gerward Evelyn took care of general domestics and quickly studied his superiors. After the company collapsed, he remained on the coast and found fame as a solo dredger, able to find nuggets in the most unlikely streams and silts. He put his success down to a modified clothes strainer that he had adapted during his service to Lord Mithers. The design became famous and is now used worldwide wherever washing or indeed prospecting is done. Well, that seems like a useful thing to have. Voltok's Note 3. I had my final voyage last night, the culmination of my terrible visions. I was transported to an unearthly black desert, a terrible wasteland lit by the fevered rays of that burning moon. The land itself was strewn with grim lakes and wreathed in bright mists. Everything was vivid and cold. I could smell the pools and hear the discharge of static in the air. The moon filled the sky above, and I felt suffocated, crushed, as if under water. Figures all composed of ethereal light flickered in and out of that realm, stumbling like automatons, lost pilgrims staggering across the barren land. It was too much, too much. I am quaking now with the memory. I am sealing my last ampule here, along with the device I used to filter the extract. I will not go back. I cannot go back. That's all right. We'll do it for you, for some reason. So, I guess this boon of the sloth was not, in fact, what we were looking for. I think I'm just gonna have Atticus go for it. Well, we're pretty tired. Maybe we should sleep first. You know what? Let's get everybody some rest. We'll worry about it afterward. Somebody's got to deal with that pestilent swarm. Atticus, you're tough. Work is still being done in the study. We'll have to let that settle. Fading fragments. Okay. So the stuff from the storage index probably not going to be too useful anymore. Let's let everybody just get some sleep. Mr. Tubbs is in the kitchen. Can you go pet Mr. Tubbs? Yeah. Critical stuff for Caligar. I am going to have Atticus drink and dream. Good luck, sir. And then we need to generate the points necessary, or the support items necessary to get this going. So first things first, an archives key, move here. should get us access to another diagram. Where do the other parts of this come from? I don't think anything was from the cellar, but he can't do the other two important skills here. Can you do it again? It did help. That for sure helped. Yep, never stop petting that cat. Oh my god, it's wonderful. Okay, found ourselves a booster matrix, just as I was hoping. And you have discovered an archive guide. A lesser vision through the mists and moonfly haze, an echo from the goblet's previous owner. Irma Voltok's pale hand scratches a series of archive codes on a slip of vellum. We draw them out of the dream. Any guidance to the archive's convoluted storage is a welcome addition to our endeavor. I mean, sort of. We really don't need this kind of support. That's a strange item to find in this moment. There is still the divining ring. We could do more divining ring stuff. I do want to have you use the iron pail another time or two. Oh, pestilent swarm. May as well deal with that. Very convenient that we happen to be there. So yeah, unfortunately you're out of stuff. I'm assuming we're not going to find anything from the storage index except the item that we just determined we don't need any more of. I can't believe how patient Mr. Tubbs is being. What a hero. Yeah, Caligar is down to 25%. Okay, you found some moonfly larvae. A pale aquatic nymph, the juvenile form of the moonfly. One day this grub will be a beautiful nocturnal invertebrate, glittering under the stars. For now its ugly immature form coils and roils in the shadows of the well. More adventurous apothecaries claim that the larvae holds toxins that can give rise to powerful visions, and it is rumored that its extract was used to instill fake madness by poisoners and con artists. Well, I don't know about all that, but I do know we can make use of the damn thing. Yeah, all we're finding is more Voltok's drafts, which are going to turn out to be nothing, I assume. Go ahead and verify, but I think that's probably the last time we need to do that. Caligar is almost down to 0 madness because Mr. Tubbs is being such a good kitty. Alright, Emberstone, not useless. Keep looking. More moonfly extract. It's going to be necessary for somebody. You can, unfortunately, not do a ton here. Where are the other items? Like, we need, obviously, machine room inspiration would be quite helpful. The inspiring text doesn't generate it. The villanelles don't generate it. The ritual offering doesn't generate it. Where were we getting machine room inspiration from before? Is it just sleeping? It seems like it might just be sleeping. Okay, I guess we can have somebody go take a nap. It's not horrible. What a lovely boy. Who would be next on the list? I guess Atticus or Vitali? Vitali would be... Yeah, it's useful to have Vitali come in here and do this. You can dig and make sure we're not missing anything there. Okay, we're not missing any items from here. Let's have you try it again. Sweet, sweet Mr. Tubbs. Yeah, we're getting pretty low. Okay, pestilence swarm in the schoolroom, but also... Actually, this doesn't look like it really fits in either location, right? Somebody's got to go deal with that. I suppose it's on you. You're the one of us who is the least busy. Well, that's not true. She was about to... Whatever, this is a fast task in any case. Okay. And... in the interim... Who's tired, I guess? Alright, we gotta go generate more extract, it would seem. Having rested did not generate anything. Do you want to take a turn, Vitali? I wonder if it's maybe you have to be a certain amount tired? That would seem awfully strange, though. Make it very hard to generate that kind of inspiration. Oh, hey, we have a slime-coated bone here. Well, that's convenient. We have use of a slime-coated bone. And the slumberfish, which I do not care about at all. Flicker fry. Yeah, just try again. Strange dreams, but I have rested and produced nothing. Okay. I'm gonna have Mechanist Aster rest. You know, seems to me like it would make more sense for her to have a machine inspiration dream. And it just so happens we generated a bunch of extra stuff here for everybody else to do. Another moonfly larvae, also a rusted rondelle. What appears to be a large rusty nail is in fact a merchant's sidearm. The flakes of rust and scabrous corrosion could be removed if one wanted to uncover the true value of this piece. We can burn through this really quickly. Also, Caligar's report. Sometimes I wonder at myself. Would I want to be dragged from a grave to take part in some demonstration or display of knowledge? I have, of course, benefited from such disinterments, yet I begin to feel shame at pulling the fallen back into the light. I myself seek oblivion often enough to sympathize with the sanctity of burial. Okay, you can generate a new chemical diagram. Let's go ahead and send that to the records. Chemical worksheet, moonfly extract. Go forth, my man, drink and dream. And in the meantime, we will give you the boost that you are going to need to clean this rondelle. And Astra also did not get the inspiration we were after. Alright, I need you, Vitali, to process a ritual offering as quickly as you can. Yeah, until we can generate another boost for the machine room such that we can, thought condense, there's not really anything for us to do. We could try working the divining ring again, but it's kind of a nightmare, right? It's just miserable. Why did we get an archive guide? What a strange thing. Okay. Gift to the toad lets us knock that out. Got this condensed enough. We're very close. Atticus should now be just barely capable of getting this cleared. And I guess we can search for a new diagram here. And then we gotta find some more catalytic powder, which I think comes from the courtyard. Well, you know, more ritual offering, not a bad idea. Guess I was wrong about that, though. Does it come from the basement? I do not remember. We'll check out here as well. You will want to just stand out of the way, because Atticus is going to need to do this. The delicate blade of this piercing knife would have remained hidden in the seams of cloaks and boots, but now restored, the masterwork of its construction proves it to be more a symbol of status than a tool of defense. This reclaimed weapon is now ready for delivery, and I honestly can't remember. Is this the third or the fourth of these knives? This might be the last one. Okay, you found nothing. You found the catalytic powder. Okay. And Juskel's invitation. Dear A, you did it. My buyer is over the moon. He never expected to see a full quartet of those knives on this side of the ocean. But here you are, like some foxhound, sniffing them all out. Come round to the den as soon as you get back in town. The contact wants to pay you direct. I've already got my fee. And I reckon you can safely book yourself a carriage there and back. You are going to be rolling in coin for a while, my friend. Maybe you can buy me a drink to celebrate. It all feels very, hey, come get your cut, which makes me a little nervous. I don't know. It's probably nothing. All right, let's restore the lost gift before we need it again. Would be better. And then you can do another shot from the pail. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's all the doing that's getting done right now. Oh, Mr. Tubbs is up in the kitchen again. Let's deal with some madness. Atticus, go give that cat some love. And in doing so, love yourself. Yep, anybody should be able to knock these out. Got ourselves some more flicker fry that I don't care about, and some more moonfly larvae that I probably do care about. And also some more cat petting. Not a dog at all. Congratulations. We're all so proud of you, Atticus. Atticus is forced to concede that he is a fine lad. Okay, more moonfly larvae, which we probably will need. More curative algae, which we honestly seems like probably won't need. And I do want to, of course, get Atticus drinking the thing, but like, let's pet this cat a bunch more first, right? We can get Atticus to 0 madness. Well, close enough. Left petting an empty space, he's able to verify this too is not a dog. All right, buddy. Take another sip. May as well process the next moonfly. Okay. Yes, that bit does go there, and here we are. The Burning Moon. A rite to break the threshold of the 4th circle, an artery to the heart of Nibiru. The eye, the chalice, the hammer. Mark their rings like ripples in the still pond of time, and in the center, a final circle, bitten at the edge, a waxing moon. Scribe its influence in scored lines of light, in curves of sacred geometry. An atomic astrolabe, its extents piercing between worlds. Stand on the moon, face its offspring, call their names in turn. The children of the perihelion, the nomads of the aphelion, call them out. Turn with the orbits, spin in the dervish of celestial motion. Address the terminus of every line, again and again, until the world becomes dark. The burning moon, the call to the innermost circle of Nibiru. Vitaly stares into the distance with a reverent gaze, his mouth curled into a smile. This is it, an audience with the end itself, and the moment of truth, truly a time for enlightenment. This is not your personal quest for revelation, Vitaly. It is simply a means to an end. Aster is visibly shaking. Cast aside your own obsessions. We need to finish our work and return those that have been stolen. We will close this breach. We are all under great strain. The hysteria of the situation is affecting us all in our own way. Caligar looks to each of her colleagues in turn. Now is not the time to stumble or to break ranks. Aye, Miss Caligar, we can wrestle with our disagreements later. The longer this goes on, the more our minds are run ragged. Atticus pats his club with his free hand. Let's just get this over with. Okay. Well, we can do that. This takes a 7, so we are going to need a little bit of a push. A rite to break the threshold of the fourth circle, an artery to the heart of Nibiru. The eye, the chalice, the hammer. Mark their rings like ripples in the still pond of time, and in the center a final circle, bitten at the edge, a waxing moon. Scribe its influence in scored lines of light, in curves of sacred geometry, an atomic astrolabe, its extents piercing between worlds. This is the same text. Well, it's not entirely the same. Yeah, okay. I just read this, and I'm like, I like it. I like it. It's good text. Okay, so here's the problem. I don't really have a good way of generating 7 mouth, because I don't think we've ever seen a booster item that wasn't Gift of the Snake, right? The Velociteer is at maximum upgrade. So how would we could try to jam the Raven into the Thought Condenser if it shows up again. Aside from that, I'm not really sure how we would get up there. Yeah, that's concerning. We can try drinking with the Moonfly extract again just to see. Mr. Tubbs is there. He wouldn't let anything bad happen. Let's find out what happens. A vision of pain. I am rooted to the putrid earth. The tendrils climb up me like vicious insects. They close around my limbs, wrapping around me, a swaddle of thorny straps. I feel them tighten, slowly crushing the life from my frozen form. A host of distorted figures stands witness, each one malformed in its own abhorrent way. There are no more revelations to drain from the depths of this cup. And that's not movable. Let's just get Atticus out of there. Okay, well, that's good to know, I suppose. I thought it was the case, but now we can be certain. I haven't opened a shipping crate in a while, although I guess Mr. Tubbs isn't going to let me. Oh, no, we did generate a gift to the monkey. It went down there for some reason. I gotta be more attentive to this area, like I was saying earlier. Well, in that case, all we're really doing here, as far as Aster, is waiting for Mr. Tubbs to get out of the way. But it doesn't solve this problem at all. Caligar's Cane Cross letter. Once I heard you were part of the Highrook investigation, I had to write to you. A few years ago, I was sent to inoculate the Acheron boy, and while I was in their schoolroom, I saw something that made me take note. On one of the shelves was a human ribcage mounted as if for biological study. What struck me, though, was the nameplate, identifying the owner as Oswald Kent, the very first victim of the Ashen Death. Considering your involvement, I felt that it was important to tell you this discovery, both as a colleague and a friend. And that would require us to have 2 points of lessons, which is not a thing that we know how to do. And to be clear, leveling someone up from this point is a task that would take a very large amount of positives. So, we only have one gift to the toad. Yeah, that's concerning. Okay, well, we can do this now. Jam these two together. What was in the shipping crates? This is more just to remind me because I've forgotten than anything else. I'm not expecting anything useful to come from it. Oh, this is where you get the tracker's guides. And also just some loose moonshine. Okay, that's pretty whatever. Alright, here we go. Construct the device from Sophia's final blueprint. Although actually we had this blueprint before we found the last one, but you know what I mean. Aha! A unique prototype. An amazing device, designed with such lateral ingenuity. Ether waves have long been theoretical curiosities, but this proves their existence. It is surely a breakthrough for our entire field. The results of such a discovery should offer Sophia the respect she deserves. Her mind is of a caliber that will echo down the ages with the clarity and brilliance of thought. To play even a small role in that story, I am completed. So what does the thing do? A mechanist detector capable of identifying the presence of ether waves. Its delicate needle quivers at the unveiling of a hitherto hidden world, the culmination of Aster's tenacity and Lady Acheron's brilliance. From this, a mechanist legacy can be forged. But aside from that, it doesn't really seem to, doesn't seem to be super helpful. Okay. I guess the point of the archive guide here was just that this way there's a second archive assistance object so that we can thought combine them. Thought condense them, rather. Yeah, that's probably all it is. Alright, how are we going to manage this? We can only have one gift of the stake, so we can't get 2 of them and then combine them. The divining ring's not going to help, right? I know it's been a minute since we had it. Oh, hold on. Cat petting time. But I feel like we were quite thorough with it. Yeah, all it's producing is nothing. The fact that we still have it makes me think it might still have some role. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be helping here. Where am I going to get a second point of this? We have every inspiration right now that we could get out of that, it seems. We've used, I think, all of our items. Hey, here's a question. Can we use this to combine different things into one? No, it only works on stuff that's of the type of the room. Yeah, we need to find something that we haven't yet found or that I've forgotten about or something. And sadly, we have two different places where that's true. All right, I don't think we're going to be using either of these. Yeah, you don't generate the right kind of bonuses. We definitely searched things out there. The night lamp provided us with the gift of the snake, but we are pretty sure it's not going to provide us with anything else. All of this stuff only provides a symbol that we don't have yet, presumably for the Lord's Chamber. I'm feeling the tiniest bit stuck. Well, I suppose we are sort of 70 minutes into the episode. Maybe this is not such a bad place to take a second, let it breathe, see if I can't remember some piece of information that will prove helpful. Oh wait, Archer's Primer. Archer's Primer is totally the thing for the okay. When you come back next time, Archer's Primer absolutely gives the right kind of task support. We're going to find out if we can combine a Gift of the Toad with it. And I forgot, I was thinking of this item as a single-use item. And so I was confused earlier when it didn't get spent. But no, this is okay. I feel a little foolish now. For some reason, I was thinking of this as a single-use booster. But no, it is a task support item in the... I think in like the Irving's eyepiece line. So we'll try it with that next time. Come back next time. We'll see if I have misunderstood this item all along, and if so, what it may yet do for us. And we'll see you then.